Good evening to each and every one of you. Welcome to the Friday night edition of our rock and roll mission. That's rap from the old days. I know all you guys remember that. It's actually not our rock and roll mission. It's Music Lovers LTD. This is our live Friday night podcast that we do almost each and every Friday night. And we got the gang all here. We're waiting for our special guest. We're having a little technical difficulties with her, but we have the other special guest here. Mr. Kenny Hamber is here. So Diane is here. Kevin is here. Drew is here. The professor is working backstage. We're ready to go. So good evening, everybody, once again out there in radio land and TV land. This is the place to be because the information that you get here, the information that you have here, the stuff that you see here, you're not going to see it too many other places. Kenny Hamber, my good friend from the Arctic label. How are you, my brother?
I'm blessed. Totally blessed.
That's a good thing. That's a real good thing. Kenny, while we're waiting on Della to come in, share some of the memories, if you will, or some of the things that you'd like to talk about pertaining to the Arctic label and pertaining to Miss Della Humphreys.
Well, there were two artists from the Maryland area. She was actually a year ahead of me when Jimmy Bishop signed her. Now, keep in mind, she was with a production, but she ended up being on Warren Records, which was owned by the lady that owned Spectre Records that had Dionne Warwick and the Sorrells, Sammy Hunt, and Chuck Jackson.
Okay.
But Jimmy Bishop, God bless his soul, was trying to create a small Motown. And people don't realize Jimmy was really, putting out things even before Gambe and Huff. And it was Della, Winfield Parker, myself, Barbara Mason, the Volcanoes, Honey and the Bees, the Ambassadors, and he had a little thing going on, really. He really did. But the biggest artist on that label was Barbara Mason. But Della was the second young lady on that label. It was only two single lady artists at that company at that time.
Okay.
And I came, I think, a year or maybe 6 months after her. And I don't know if she remember when she comes on that her and I, she was very young. Her mother at the time was acting as her manager. And she was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, she wasn't even in her teens. Wait a minute, she might have been 15 when she got with Jimmy Bishop.
Okay. All right, great. Now you and I'm going to get everybody else in here in a few minutes. Lamar just joined us. What's up, my brother? I'm glad to see you. Everybody, and I got this from all around the country, who started a record company were trying to be like Berry Gordy. Now, at the time. Of all the record companies that that I've been involved with, when I say being involved, that I've done research on and had the opportunity to learn and this, that, and the other, Philadelphia had the best chance of being like Motown, if you will, than anybody. Is that right, Kenny? Or you think, or what?
I agree with that because it had a lot of talent. I think the worst scenario of any city that didn't do that was Baltimore, where I was from. So we had to go outside the area to be sort of discovered record-wise. You know what I'm saying? So, but the first major, people don't know this, or maybe some people do, the most major black label was VJ Records out of Chicago.
Okay.
And that was before Motown, Stack, or Philadelphia International. So, but they ran into some trouble, but they were the first people to put out the Dells, Spaniels, and people like that. But they really set the way for Berry Gordy to do what he did. And nobody's done what Berry's done since. Nobody.
Right. Exactly.
Philadelphia came close, as you said. And thanks to Gamble and Huff and Tom Bell and all of them. But Philadelphia was second. Matter of fact, they were, to me at the time, bigger than Stack Records.
Gotcha.
At that time.
Okay, we'll delve into all of that. I'm gonna let you say hello to everybody. Let me while we're waiting on Della to come in. Matter of fact, let's start off with Drew. Drew, good afternoon to you. Good evening to you. And you're talking to Kenny Hamber now. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Hey, greetings, Mr. Hammer. Thank you for being with us. You talked about you talked about that Arctic label. But the unique thing about that that I've researched is that they had a blue-eyed soul group there.
Yeah,
and one of those members
called the Temp Tones. They went to the college down there, and then the Temp Tones became Holland and Oates.
Right, that's what I was getting at. Yeah,
they came out of that group. They really, especially Daryl Hall, he loved the Temptations, and he got a bunch of guys out of college. They went to Temple University in Philadelphia, and he patterned the group after we used to call them the Blue Eye Temptations.
That's great information. That's great. Good question there, Drew. Great information. I mean, if you got something else with that, Drew?
No, I was going to ask him what was it like touring with those guys. I'm assuming y'all was together, did some tours together.
I worked with the Temp Tones one time, but years ago, maybe Ollie and some of y'all, Jimmy Bishop used to do a big show at one of the arenas there. I mean, he had everybody, Sliding the Family Songs, Temptations, everybody you can name. I was part of that. And I mostly traveled and did shows with the Intruders. And they were great guys to really get along with. And then when Lil Sonny was going through his thing, I recommended a guy from Baltimore named Bobby Starr. And he ended up coming into the group. He led the song When We Get Married. And but traveling, and I traveled with Barbara, and me and Norman Harris ended up being good friends because he was Barbara's music director and guitar player at the time when we were on the road. So I had a great experience.
Good. Great question, Drew. Great, as usual. Great question. Kevin, coming at you, man. Go ahead, bro.
Hey, good evening, Kenny. Thanks for taking time out to be with us tonight.
Thank you.
I have a question. While you was with Arctic Records, have you ever did any work with the Vibrations or the Volcanoes?
The Volcanoes, yes, I have. They were good friends of mine, especially the chubby guy. His name was James, Baby James, they called him. And I don't know if any of you guys know, people think that Damon Harris took Eddie Kendrick's place first, but he did not. The lead singer from the Vibration, Richard Owens, took Eddie Kendrick's place. Then after that, Damien came in. So I was very familiar with. They were from the West Coast. They was from LA, and at the time they used to give the Temps a hard way to go because they were acrobats on stage. I mean, the Temps had that smooth choreography. These guys went wild on stage. Sure, I knew the Vibration.
Good question. All right, moving over to Diane. Go ahead, baby doll.
Good evening, Mr. Hammer. I remember the Vibrations. I remember them. They'd be flipping and moving all over the stage. It was like, what is going on?
Flipping and everything, right?
Yes, they'd be flipping and rolling all over each other. I said, well, wait a minute. What is this? This is something we've never seen before. Especially at the Uptown line.
Right, absolutely.
I had seen the Isley Brothers when they had Twist and Shout Out long time ago. That was the first live show I ever went to. My mother took me. And I was like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to going to church. This was my first live show. Never seen nothing like this before. I was like, what is wrong with these people up here? But after that, I was hooked. Okay. Every time I could
here's another thing you guys may not know. The Temptations was at the Apollo with the Vibrations. And Paul Williams, when they were on their break, Paul Williams sit out in the audience. And people don't know the Vibrations were the originators of the Temptation Walk.
Oh.
And they, and Paul went back, and the Temps, added their thing. But they used to do that Temptation Walk to a song called "Hang On, Sloopy."
Mm-hmm.
That was one of their records, and that's a little history. Charlie Atkins didn't create that. Paul Williams copied that off of the Vibrations.
Okay.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, Di. Be back at you in just a minute. Where's Lamar? Let me get him up in here. Lamar's in Michigan, just so you'll know. Kenny, go ahead, Mar. How you doing, bro? Lamar?
I'm all right. Good evening. Glad to be able to speak with you. I would like to know what inspired you to get into music, Kenny?
Oh, good question.
What inspired me to get in? You're cutting out. What inspired me to get in show business?
The music.
Jackie Wilson. In music, Jackie Wilson. Plain and simple. I went as a kid.
Into music.
What inspired me? Yeah, seeing Jackie Wilson. That's what I wanted to do.
Can it be a little bit more elaborate about that, if you would? Tell us how that got started. I mean, you saw him somewhere, and what happened when you saw him?
No, actually, we had a theater. It's similar. It was on the city in Turkey, like the Apollo. Y'all had the Uptown. We had the Royal Theater,
right,
which is on Pennsylvania Avenue. And as a kid, I would sneak in there, and and wanted to be an entertainer. Used to do doo-wop on the streets. And when I actually went to see Jackie Wilson, I just said, that's what I wanted to do, man. Had no clue that I could even sing, because I was an athlete. I played ball. But that's when I saw that and saw all the girls running after the guys in process, I put my baseball bat down. And I decided, look here, something to this. And I've been doing it, like I say, I'm 81. I'm still touring and performing. I've been doing this since I was 14 years old. I've been a professional since I was 19.
That's a blessing.
Never had a day job. Yeah, and God is still, I still have my voice. Haven't changed any key. I can still sing in the keys of the songs that I do. But so far it's working for me. But that's what inspired me, seeing Jackie Wilson. And later on in years, I had a chance to open up for him. And that was a big thrill. He was a nice guy. And it was sad the way he passed away. And you can't make money, carry with you, but it's a shame to know that you made all this money and you didn't get none of it.
Yeah.
That it was taken from you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sad, and it happens to a lot of people who are living.
I
always tell young guys, learn business. You're gonna have your talent, but learn where your money is supposed to be. Learn about royalties. Learn about publishing. And if you don't, it's a waste of time nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you and I have had this conversation
because I've been able to make a living. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you and I have had
this. I've been able to make a living at this. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, you and I have had this conversation many times. Yeah, I was saying you and I have had this conversation many times about learning the business. Back in the day when you started and some of these other artists started and Jackie Wilson started, there wasn't a lot of learning. It was all about the talent then. Yes, you should have been learning, but the producers and all of them guys, they had the know-how as to where the money was going, which is why Little Richard died still saying that people owed him.
And all you keep in mind, during them eras, the producers were white, not black.
Yeah.
When the Little Richards and those people, there was very few black producers, and they didn't get the opportunity, and really till Motown came into existence. That's when black people got the opportunity to get their songs. So now, when you had a few, like the guy that wrote Hound Dog for Elvis, but he didn't write it for Elvis. He made it for Big Mama Thornton.
Big
did
Mama
it first.
Thornton. Right.
But we didn't have really any good black producers back then, and I think it started coming in the late 60s and 70s.
Right.
When the producers got the opportunity. Of course, Quincy Jones really started it all. God bless his soul.
Right. Good point, Ken. I'm going to jump back over here to Drew. Drew, go ahead, my brother.
Mr. Hamber, in your opinion, I wish I could ask her directly. How would you think? Do you know? Well, you haven't talked to her, but I just wondered if Barbara Mason's success at Arctic and what was to happen later on in her career, do you think that hampered Miss Humphrey's career, or
absolutely. Absolutely. Because without telling the real story, it was a little more going on with Barbara Mason and the label. And she would have been a superstar if it wasn't for Barbara Mason. But I don't blame it on Barbara Mason. I blame it on the people that was handling her. She came out before Stacey Lattimore, man. That's how talented that young lady was. I think so. But hopefully when she comes on, she can really answer that better than I can.
That's interesting that you say that, Kenny. They still not, device is not connected. Man, oh man, this is bad. When this internet and all this stuff
works, you got to remember something, man. Yeah. To the question, another answer to that question. It's another answer to that question. When you are involved with the owner of the company, like Diana was with Berry Gordy, Florence Ballard didn't make it. So it's almost without me telling it, it's almost the same thing.
Okay.
With Barbara Mason and what happened with Della, or any other female who was trying to get to be on that label, it wasn't going to happen long as Barbara was there. Gotcha. Because Jimmy, she may be able to tell me this. I don't know if Jimmy did a lot of cutting on her, but one of the couple songs, she did a remake on one of the Supreme songs, but I don't know where her catalog is. Like I say, hopefully if she gets on, she'll be able to answer that.
Good question, Drew. Very good question. Kev, coming at you, Kev. Go ahead.
Hey, Kenny, from what I read about Miss Humphrey, she's from Miami. Am I correct?
No. She's from Maryland originally. I don't know if she lives in Miami now. Huh?
No, she doesn't live there now, but she was there during a period of time.
Originally. I don't know. Yeah. She may be living in Miami now. I don't know.
No, I mean, where's she?
But she's from Maryland originally.
Oh, Maryland, okay. My question is, when she did her first song, it was kind of like, almost like Betty Wright's song. From my understanding, she was only about 13 years old or 15 years old?
Yeah, between 13 and 15, yes, absolutely. Now, that could have been one of the reasons why she didn't get the success, but, hey, I can't answer. She can answer that. I have a lot of answers, but I can't answer that one.
Got you. Good question, Kev. Good question. Let me jump over to Diane. Go ahead, DD.
Excuse me. Now, you said she would, because of Barbara Mason. Well, he had Honey and the Bees on that label as well. So
no, he's talking about a solo artist. A solo artist, not a group artist.
Yeah. Because for real,
Honey and the Bees were a group of girls.
Yeah, I never really heard of her. Okay, because it wasn't, I don't know if I just didn't hear who it was or whatever, but I went and listened to some of her songs today. And, when she came out in 68, I was going from here. I was in school. I went away to college. So yeah, so I don't know if it was just played here or wasn't played where I was at that much. So I really didn't know about her.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Don.
Well,
Thank you
lot
very
of,
much.
you know, yeah. Well, as Ollie being a DJ, you know, a lot of songs didn't get to certain areas that should have gotten there, because you could go to one area and hear a song that the DJs were playing and it was never played in your area.
Right.
So it could have been one of those things, you know.
Right.
But she had a name in our area, you know.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. Let me jump over here to Lamar. Go ahead, Mar. Go ahead, Lamar. Lamar.
And how often did y'all sit out? Yeah, how often did y'all sit out in the audience and observe their moves and say, this is what you should do?
No, I never did that.
I
used to watch. Yeah, I heard what you said. You said, how often was I in the audience and watch what they did, and what did I? No, because I always wanted my own identity. And I wasn't a great dancer, so I couldn't do what Jackie Wilson or James Brown did. So I just had to do the best I can. That's about it. I admire what they did, absolutely. My thing was dressing. I loved the dress, so I admired the way some of the entertainers dress, you know, in the mohair suits and sharp skin suits. That was my thing. And there were guys that could dress, but I wasn't no, you know, I couldn't do that. Maddie, come here. There's something on the thing. Only got Ollie and one other guy. Oh, maybe so. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you good, Ken.
Hello?
Yeah, we got you. We got you.
Oh,
can you hear me, Ken?
Some on your end is yes, but it's some on your end is, and it has elite the rest of the people. Only you and the young man Drew is on.
Oh, really? Everybody else is
that
still
I
here.
can see. Yeah, you saw that sound?
Everybody else is still here. Well, while Maddie is fixing that, let me elaborate, and I think this goes to Kevin's point, and probably Drew. In 1968, August the 3rd, the song "Girl, You Can't Do What the Guys Do No" by Betty Wright came out. A couple of months later, in November, Della came out with "Don't Make the Good Guys Go Bad." Now, those songs are similar. Now, last night I played them both. I played them both so you could hear the difference. And Allison was sitting here listening to the song, and she said, "Well, what is that?" I said, "That's Della Humphrey's song." And she said, "Oh, I thought it was the other one." And then when I played Betty Wright's song, those two are very, very, very compatible, meaning that you can always mix up one with the other. They don't sound alike. The words are different, but I guess it's the content of the song that sort of makes you, you know what I'm saying, makes you think that one is the other one. But it was Betty Wright's song, who came out in August 3rd of 68, where Della's came out November the 16th of 68. So she had a little bit of a jump on her, and it was played in Philadelphia. It was played in this area. Both of them were played big, but only I think Betty's was a little bit bigger, you know, record-wise, if you will. You agree with me, Drew?
Yeah.
Let me go back. Let me. Go ahead, Kenny. You say something. Go ahead, Kenny.
No, that's because I think that has a lot to do with the promotion of the company. You know, some companies had a bigger budget, some didn't.
Right.
So they only got played in certain places where, you know, the budget could work, you know.
Okay. Now, Kenny, you brought up something that I really never thought about too much. And that is, and it's a little on the not necessarily shady side, but it is the truth, that Barbara's relationship with Jimmy Bishop might have hampered. I see you, Professor. Okay, yeah,
it did.
I see. Hold on 1 second. Let me jump in here and see what the professor's doing. Hold on 1 second. Hey, Professor, what's going on?
Hey, they're gonna have to call you and do the thing we do with the phone because they actually have no camera built into their computer.
Oh,
I can't hear you.
that's the problem.
I can't hear you.
Oh, that's the problem.
Ali, I can't hear you.
I had turned my mic off.
Okay.
You hear me now?
Yeah, no, that's on me. I had turned my mic off. Professor, that would have been nice to know ahead of time. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, and I thank you for your help. So, matter of fact, I'm going to come to you, Professor. Let me turn everybody else's mic off.
They're gonna call you on the phone so you can do that thing, you know, with them on speaker to your microphone.
Right. Hello.
They can see us
Yeah.
and hear us, but they don't have the camera built in.
My phone is right here. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, modern technology has knocked us down, but we're not going to stop. We just keep rolling. We have Miss Della Humphreys on the phone. Because of a technical situation, we can't get her on the call with us, but she's here on the phone. Della, you can say hello because everybody's listening.
Hello, everybody.
You guys can hear? Can everybody hear? Yeah, everybody's waving.
See you guys.
Yeah, okay, good.
I can see you.
Okay.
And I can hear you.
Wonderful. Kenny Hamber is here. I know he wants to say hello.
Hi, Kenny.
Della, I don't know if you remember me, but I certainly remembered you.
Yes, many years now.
Hello?
She said many years.
We did a couple. We did a couple when you were you was with Jimmy, but you were on Warren Records, and I remember meeting your mother. And if I'm not mistaken, are you from Hamber, Grace, Maryland?
You're breaking up. Could you repeat that?
Hello?
He said, "Are you from Hamber, Grace, Maryland?"
I'm buffering.
No. I was born and raised in Miami, Florida.
Born and raised in Miami, Florida. Kevin was right.
Yes.
Kevin was right.
You know what? I beg a difference because I thought you lived in Maryland.
He said he.
No, I lived in Philly for about
At one
13
time.
years,
Okay.
right out of high school.
She said that she lived in Philly for about 13 years right out of high school.
Okay.
Something to learn everywhere.
Well, I don't know it all. Now I know.
Something to learn everywhere, bro. Ain't no problem.
Kevin
gets Kevin gets an extra cookie for that one. You know what I mean? He got that one on point. Listen.
Yes, he does.
One of the Drew. I'm gonna put you back on, Drew. What was because the question that you had asked? Della can hear you. Drew, go ahead. What was the question you asked earlier that Kenny said he couldn't answer?
Yes, Miss Della Humphreys. My name is Andrew. It's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, I'm sorry
I've
about
heard-
the technical problems, but I can hear you guys and I can see you, and you all look well.
Great. I did have one question. When you recorded for the Arctic record label, they had another female, Barbara Mason, and they really, what she started there really blew her up. Did you ever get the feeling that you were slighted because they were so heavily promoting Barbara Mason and her career?
Well, it was really strange. I met Barbara. I don't know how she found where I lived. However, I was working, and she came over. She came to quite a few shows, I was told, and then she came over and asked me to go on the road with her, but I never saw her again.
Wow.
I didn't see her again.
Wow. Do you, Della? Do you know what happened with that, or do you know why?
I don't know why. I never knew why, but I never saw her again.
Okay. Well, Kenny threw out something that was pretty interesting. And we can talk about that later because I want to get around to let everybody say something to you. Kevin, go ahead, bro. Kevin, this is he'll introduce himself. Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, Della, my name is Kevin Powell. I was listening to your first song that you made. I didn't know you was that young when you first recorded. And
I was very young.
Your voice sounded very mature then.
Could you repeat that?
He said your voice sounded. He said your voice sounded very mature then, even though you were young.
I was. My mother traveled everywhere with me, pretty much, and I was quite young. I was.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna jump over to Diane. Diane, go ahead, babe.
Good evening, Miss Humphreys. Pleasure to meet you. I was reading your bio, and it said that you had a show at the convention center in Philadelphia.
Watch out now. Watch out. Watch out now.
You know, I'm telling my age now. Okay. And that you with Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder, I think that was the first big thing that I had ever done. And I had never seen that many people. And I remember my mother standing to the side. Well, there were no people in there when we was rehearsing and things of that nature. And when it got full, they opened the curtain. I looked to the side and I see my mother. That's where I was going. My mother said, "No, don't you come over here. Go back. Go back." You know, so it was quite an experience. Yes, that was the first big show that, you know, like I said, I never had stage fright, but once they opened that curtain and I saw the people and the lights and things of that nature. Yeah, it did. It was like if my voice didn't leave me, it was, well, where am I going? You know?
Okay. Okay. Good question, Di. Now, let me just piggyback on top of that, Della. It's my understanding, because I was not at the show. Diane was probably at the show. She travels everywhere. She was probably at the show. But it's my understanding that Stevie Wonder and Johnny Taylor was on that show and several more, but you stole the show. That's my understanding. You actually stole the show. Can you? Yeah, you say you might have had stage fright when you walked out, but apparently the lights and everything kicked in when you walked out on stage. Am I correct on that or what?
It was my mother that kicked in. Don't you come over here, go back. Because I was going over there and wasn't coming back, you know. But yes, it was quite interesting. It was.
That is awesome.
It was a lot for me. And there was several different groups. I think all the Philadelphia groups were there. The Scarletics, the Intruders, Johnny Taylor, like you said, Stevie Wonder. Oh gosh, there was so many.
Okay.
It really truly was. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Let me jump over here to Diane probably was. She'd have been there every show that we hadn't talked about. So I don't know if she actually was there, but I'm gonna bet she probably was, because she got ticket stubs from everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Let me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Let me jump over to Lamar. Lamar is in Michigan, and he's one of our. Let me see if I can get him first here. I'm trying to get what the heck is going on. I can't get him off mic. There you go. There you go, Mar. Lamar.
Okay. With the song, yeah. With the song, "Don't Make the Good Girls Go Bad," did you have anyone that you knew that experienced that?
With the song that you had, "Don't Let the Good Girls Go Bad," did you know anyone that experienced what you were singing about?
Well, quite a few of them. Quite a few girls. That's what you're asking.
Lamar, she said quite a few. Quite a few.
Yes. Yeah. That's
cool.
Funny, but yes, Lamar.
Now, I'm going to jump over to the professor in just a minute. But what we were talking about just before you came on is August the 3rd of 1968, Betty Wright came out with a song called "Girls You Can't Do What the Guys Do Know." Right. And then you came out a couple of months later in November with "Don't Make the Good Girls Go Bad." These two songs were played in Philadelphia heavily, especially Betty Wright's. So there are people that now, even today, confuse the two, not knowing that yours didn't get as much airplay as you probably have hoped it did. Can you speak on that to a degree?
Yes. Okay. We had the same writer, Clarence Reed. He's since passed. And with Betty, I think he wrote the song for Betty first. And then I came out with the other.
Oh,
but they
okay.
still got confused.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Because they're very
Yes.
close in proximity, even though the words are different, the tune is different, but then I guess it's the meaning behind them, which is where people sort of get confused at, I guess.
But the song was bigger over in the UK than
Really?
it was here in the US.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Wonderful. 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 I'm going to bring the professor in here. Let the professor.
Go ahead, Professor. Hello. Can you hear me? Can she hear me? Okay. It seemed as though Arctic Records was almost like a precursor to Philly International. Are you still in touch with any of your label mates? I can't hear anybody.
Of the groups. Now, I spoke briefly. Can you hear me, Professor?
She said now she can. I think she can hear you now.
Okay. Like Honey and the Bees. I think they did recordings on the backup vocals. I never got a chance to meet them, and I wanted to. I traveled a lot, and at that time, I had a musician. He just passed about 2 months ago, Joey Gilmore.
Oh, wow.
And he would always have sheet music and give the musicians, but I never saw anybody. They would bring me in, do what they needed to do, and then they would do the voices.
Okay.
Add them in.
Okay.
You know, that kind of thing.
Okay. Okay. Let me say this to you. Thank you, Professor. Let me say this to you. Listening, well, Kenny Hamber is here. You see him. But listening is Ann from Honey and the Bees. She's listening.
Oh,
So if you want to say hello to her, she's not on the line with us, but she's listening.
hi, Ann. Can she hear me?
Well, if she's listening, she can, and I'm sure she is, because she told me she would be tuning in.
Yes. Well, I always hoped that I would get that chance to meet them.
Well, as we talk this afternoon, whenever you come to Philadelphia, you got to give me a call, and I'll round up some of the members here, and we're going to have lunch, and probably I'll tell Ann about it as well.
That would be great. I would like that.
Now, if we go further north, then we could go meet Kenny for lunch, but he's up there in Connecticut, so that's a little way to go.
Yeah.
There's one of my listeners who called me last night from the radio show and said to me that they were doing some research, and one of your favorite songs, or at the time, was "Your Love Is All I Need." And that was produced by Corbin and Reed. They tell me that you used to listen to that song every day and every night. Do you still do that? And tell us why.
Well, I had, at that time of singing it, I had no experience of feelings. Your love is all I need. I don't know, but I did. I liked the song, and I played it often.
Okay.
Quite often. I really did. Yes. So that was the Corbett and Reed.
Yes.
Clarence Reed.
Yes.
The same one that wrote for Betty as well.
Right.
We
Right.
went to school together, Betty and I.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
She was from Miami as well.
So you're saying, when you say you didn't have any experience, you're talking about in the art of love and life. Is that what you're talking about?
Love, well, at my age, no. The love I had was for my mom and dad and my sisters. I mean, yeah. But as far as talking about in a relationship,
I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I'm going to jump back into Kenny Hamber. Let him say a little something. Go ahead, Kenny. Kenny?
Yeah, it's been a while, but I remember when there used to be a disc jockey in Baltimore named Fat Daddy.
Yeah.
And her and I did some things for him. But I do remember Della's mother, and she was always with Della at the time. So, I mean, Now, let me ask you this. What are you doing these days? Are you still performing?
Did you hear that, Della?
Yes,
Could you hear me?
as far as stage performance, but no, I haven't. Now I've shared, which we call working with different groups, but live shows and traveling like that, no.
She said live shows and traveling, Kenny, no, but she's done some things, I guess, with shared some things with some other groups.
Yes.
Okay, Ken?
Okay.
All right, cool.
Yes.
Kenny, while we're talking to you, you told us how you got started. I'm going to reflect that same question to Della. Now, we know that Kevin said earlier that you were a big hit in the Miami area. You were winning all the talent shows. Tell us how that got started, if you would, please.
Well, back in those times, they used to have a thing on WMBM, which was a popular radio station there. And you're right, Kev. You can call in, they play the song, and you can call in and you sing a little bit of it, and you'll win a gift. However, Jack Corbett, he heard, and he got in touch with my school to get in touch with my parents.
Okay.
Yes, I still have a paper from back then where the program of the school that was having like the Battle of the Stars or the Battle of the Bands. Is that what you're talking about, Kevin?
Well, that's what he mentioned.
Yes. So that's how it all started. So the guy came over, he met my parents and everything. It was a long process, but it did happen, But yes, and then I started doing more talent shows. But yeah, the Broward against Dade was against Brevard County. So yeah, won a lot of trophies and plaques and different things like that. It was fun.
Okay.
And I was a kid.
Okay. All right. That's where it all matters at, and that's the fun part about it. Let me jump back over here to the professor. Go ahead, Professor.
Della, who is your favorite artist of today?
Well, at that time, I think it was Aretha Franklin, of course. Gladys Knight, several. So many. Yes. And at the time of doing the singing on the radio for WMBM, Kevin, I sung Mr. Postman by, I think it was Patti LaBelle.
Marvelettes.
Yeah, Patti LaBelle.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I sold my heart to the junk man, you mean?
I sold my heart to the junk man.
Yeah, okay. You said postman. I was going to say, wait a minute now. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bet you.
I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead, babe.
She had a birthday party, and it was in Philadelphia, and I think it was at Kim Graves.
Okay.
Downtown.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I sung for her birthday.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Get a little hometown flavor in there, babe. A little hometown flavor.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Let me jump in here because Kevin is bursting at the seams. He want to say something. So go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, Della, by you and Betty Wright both being from Miami, have the two of you have ever performed together on stage? Not together, but performed in the same venue.
Did you get that? Della?
I didn't know.
He said, with you and Betty Wright being from the same place, have you guys ever had the opportunity to perform on stage together?
Well, in the beginning, yes, but we, no records or anything like that for myself at the time, but we always did something together. She was in a higher grade than myself. We went to the same school. We did a lot of plays together. And we sang together.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's good. Good question, Kev.
Yes.
Good question.
Wow.
Yes.
Drew, go ahead. Go ahead, Drew.
Okay, Miss Humphreys, you mentioned the man Clarence Reed, the songwriter for you and Betty Wright, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, is this the same Clarence Reed who later became Blowfly?
I believe so. I heard that name many times before,
No,
but he did. Yes, Blowfly. I think
I
he
don't
did a
think
lot
so.
of writing for Tone's record. What's her name? Estefan. What was her name? Gloria Estefan.
Gloria Estefan.
Yes, she bought that company and all the music of the artists that sold anything out of Miami.
Oh,
And they named it the Miami Sound Machine.
okay, okay,
So I was glad to be in the number, y'all.
okay. All right, cool.
At that time, I really and truly, yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Let me jump up to Michigan and Lamar. Let me see if I can get him off. Hold on a second. His button must be stuck. I can't get it off. There we go. Go ahead, Mar. Oh no, it's back on again. Go ahead,
I
Mar.
listen to your record a lot back in New York. I used to listen to your record a lot back in New York. There was a guy named Frankie Crocker who used to play your record. And my question is, after your singing, did you further your education?
Ooh, good question. Did you hear that, Della?
I couldn't hear clearly.
Okay. He said that there was a gentleman in New York that used to
10%.
play your record a lot. His name was Frankie Crocker. After your singing career, did you go forth and finish your educational career?
Says battery running low.
I finished school. I went to
There we can, because
the school was a sorry school, but it was my school, and I always enjoyed the football games. We just never won any.
I bet you that was a drag. That was a drag, wasn't it?
It was a drag. I went to Miami Edison junior and senior, so that was where I finished my school there.
Okay.
And then I went to Miami Music Conservatory.
Okay. All right. And good question there, Lamar. Good question. I want to jump in here to Diane. Just let me move over here. Hold on one second. Go ahead, Di.
Okay. Do you miss performing?
Good question.
I do, but how I see things now, I wouldn't want to. I'm old school, and some of the things how they do things now is very different for me. When you wrote a song and you sang the song was your song, but it's gone beyond being able to sample your music, and yeah.
That's a good question.
Several people have recorded that song, and then some of them I don't even know. I've been on Facebook and I've seen groups, and but my name is there, so people are confused, and they've said, "Well, Della, I see this picture. Is any of those people, any of the ladies you?" I said, "I don't know any of them."
Wow.
So no, it's a lot different now how they're doing things. But several groups have recorded that song over.
Okay.
That's rappers.
Della, before you came on, that's one of the things that Kenny Hamber sort of talked about as far as the music business today. It's totally different than it was, 30, 40, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, whatever the case may be. Kenny brought out a very good point that there were no black producers at that time, that as to why the music didn't flow like it did and people got paid like they should have. You know what I'm saying? So Kenny brought out a very, very, very good point about that. And it's him and I have talked about this oftentimes. Yeah, oftentimes. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yes, I got a call here recently. I'm not I don't hardly get to listen to rap music, but the young lady is a big rap basketball entertainer, star, and she's recorded the song over too. She and Lil Wayne.
Oh, really?
Yes.
wow.
And then first, a couple of years ago, it was 2 years before I got to know anything about it. It was Drake and Nas, whoever that is. So it's still going.
Okay.
You know?
Well, these
Yeah.
are big names in the rap business. Nas and
That's
Drake and these are big
Yes.
names in the rap business. Yeah.
Nas, Drake, this young lady, they said her father was very popular, but I wasn't familiar with him. His name is Camouflage,
Okay.
and she's a basketball star. So they had it on the, is it the EPSI Awards?
ESPY Awards.
ESPY, yes, about 5 months, maybe 4 months ago.
Wow.
And they called about that. So I've been getting quite a few calls.
Wow,
You know?
that's interesting. These, as I said, these are big rap names. I'm not familiar with them. I've just heard them. Yeah, but these are big names here. These are really big names. Wow. Let me jump over here to the professor and see what she has to say. Professor,
Go ahead. Did you write that song? I can't hear. I can't hear.
She's talking about good girl, don't make the good girls go bad. Are you talking about that song? Okay, no, I can tell you she didn't, but she's going to answer that. Go ahead, Della.
No, I've never written any of those songs. I think it was McFadden and Whitehead. It was a song I recorded.
We are buffling terribly.
We got you, Kenny. Go ahead, Della.
But no, to your question, no, I never wrote any of those songs.
Professor, she said no, she didn't write any of them. She was talking about a song that McFadden and Whitehead did. Go ahead, Della, you were saying something about McFadden and Whitehead?
Yes, I did a song Over by Barbara Mason and Eugene McFadden and John Whitehead.
Yeah.
I think they did that.
Okay.
Gamble and Huff.
Okay.
Gamble and Huff as well.
Okay.
And then I did another song Over by, I think, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow by the Shirelles. Was it the Shirelles?
Yeah, that's who did that one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wow, you just adding the Philadelphia flavor all over the place here. You know what I mean? So
I think did 13 years.
Yeah.
Working and traveling, and it was good. It was a great experience. It just had some things to happen, kind of give a little salty taste, but
I got you.
It was an experience.
Speaking about the salty taste, at this point right now in your life, do you have any regrets? What would you change?
Company of people and music. Some of the people. Yeah. Yes. I was very naive. I was really young. I think I was around 12 years old. Okay. So the things I didn't know that came along with singing and having a manager, unproductive things, and just, but as I got older and could understand it better, no.
Okay. So you're talking about mainly just what you would consider as the average pitfalls. I guess that's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Makes sense. Especially when you start out so young, you don't know the ins and outs. And if your parents don't know, or somebody that you can put your faith in and trust, that's what I mean. Well, listen, my darling, it is so good talking with you. We're not going to finish, but I'm going to go around the room and we're going to say our goodbyes and last comments or what have you. But I am so glad that you did get at least the opportunity to come on and talk with us, because you and I have been talking all week long. Maybe the next time that we try this, we'll be able to, get you on so everybody can see. But I don't know if that means we got to come all the way down there in the forest because you live way back up in the woods, or I don't know what that means. Or at least when you come to Philly, we'll be able to do it that way, right?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay,
I'm good to see everybody too. I'm
going to start off with Lamar. As I told you, Lamar is in Michigan, and he's one of the. Me and Lamar go way, way back, long time. Lamar, go ahead with your goodbyes. Lamar.
I want to just thank you for being on here with us. I wish I could have seen you in person. live. I wish I could have seen you, but I thank you that I had the opportunity to hear your voice. And I just say, take care of yourself always.
Thank you. Thank you very well. Thank you very much.
She said, "Thank you, Lamar." She said, "Thank you very much." That was very well put, Lamar. Very well put.
Yes.
Very well put. I'm going to move up to Kevin. Go ahead, Kev.
Della, I want to thank you for your presence being with us today, this evening. And I want you to know, back in '68, when you made your first recording, I was the exact same
Everybody's
age.
frozen.
As a matter of fact, you and I are born the same year, just a couple of months apart.
Really? Well, I just had a birthday, and I'm grateful for that. Yes, very, very grateful. And it was good to hear your voices and to see you guys, to see everybody.
All right. All right. Very good, Kev. Let me go to, where am I going now? Diane. Go ahead, Di.
Good. Miss Humphreys, it was a pleasure talking to you this evening. We learned a lot. Like I said, I didn't even know who you were because when you came out, I wasn't even in the Philadelphia area. I was in North Carolina in school. So, and I didn't hear you, but it was a pleasure talking to you. I went online today and listened to some of your songs and I said, okay, all right, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Diane.
You're
and hopefully
welcome.
we can do this again and we'll be able to see everybody.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Di.
Thank you very much.
Who did I miss? Oh, Drew. Drew's up next. Go ahead, Drew.
Ms. Della, thank you so very much for joining us and sharing aspects of your musical career. Listening to you on the phone, you still have a nice, sexy voice, and man, if you ever get the itching to record it, you still got your pipes. I can hear it. Thank you.
I do a lot of writing, some writing and songs. My husband and I, we do jingles and for commercials, and he was a musician as well.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that in some information that I dug up that he was a musician. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's
Yes.
it. Drew, you done, Drew?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Drew.
She said, "Thank you, Drew." Let me go over to the
professor. Thanks so much for hanging in there. I wish I could have helped you more with the camera situation, but if you take that computer and have a professional really look at it, they should be able to install it for you. So next time we'll be able to see you as well as you can see us. But thank you so much.
Different. Can you hear me?
She can now. She can now.
Yes, get a different type of computer with a built-in camera, something that works.
Got it.
Because it was a lot of time wasted, and I'm really sorry about that. But yes,
that's okay.
Thank you.
That's okay. I'm going to share before I go to Kenny Hamber. I'm going to share a funny story with you, and the professor and some of the other ones will know this well. Before we became Music Lovers LTD, we were the Magnificent Seven, and we did this on Friday nights. One of our guests was Little Anthony. Little Anthony.
Yeah, we're buffering. I can't.
I'll be to you in a minute, Ken. I'll be to you in a minute.
Can you hear me?
Little Anthony had about 200 people come out of the closets, the ceilings, everywhere, trying to get him online. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty funny. And then weeks after that, Little Anthony was the first one on the call because now he had mastered on how to do it. It was pretty funny. Pretty funny.
I'm gonna have to take some notes from him.
Okay. Yeah. Kenny Hamber, can you hear me? Kenny Hamber, can you hear me? Kenny, can you hear me? Okay, we must have some. I tell you, when this technical stuff works, it's wonderful, and then when it doesn't work, it's crazy. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Kenny Hamber, can you hear me? Okay, he can't hear me. So anyway, Della, we want to again thank you for hanging out with us. We certainly hope that the next time that we do this, we'll be able to see each other and we'll be able to talk a little different. But the deal is, and all of us are hearing this, when you come to Philadelphia, you've got to give me a call. And then I'm going to
definitely will.
I will grab a couple of them, and then maybe we'll have some lunch or early dinner or something of that nature where we can all sit and talk and enjoy each other, because that's what this show is all about. We're about keeping the memories alive, keeping the music alive, and definitely trying to keep the people at those that are still here, because they're leaving on a daily basis, as you well know. As you well know. Yeah.
That's right.
So we're certainly trying to keep as much of the history and the feeling for this music and the love for this music. There are people all over the world that still love this music. It's just a matter of us getting to them where they can enjoy this show here and what we're doing. So on behalf of the Music Lovers Ltd, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you. We wish you Godspeed, a great weekend, and hopefully, again, when you come to Philadelphia, which hopefully won't be too long from now, that you'll give me a call and we'll be able to get together and hang out with you a little bit.
I would love to. I would love to. And it was a pleasure seeing all of you guys. And thank you so much that you even thought about me. And I will definitely call you.
That sounds good. Everybody, well, I guess you can see everybody's just saying thank you. Everybody's saying that thing. Yeah.
I can see everybody. I want to apologize for the technical things that was going on, and we must do something about this computer.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Be blessed, everybody. Have a great night. Nice to see all of you. Thank you, Drew, Kevin, Lamar, Professor, Diane, Hamber, and you, Mr. Hackett.
You're correct.
You guys.
Thank you so much, my dear. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, this sort of ends another what we consider a great show, if you will. We certainly do consider it a great show. We definitely do, because we had another legend. We had another legend on, and that's exactly what we need to call her, because she is a legend. I mean, she is a legend. And we have on and I want to thank Hamber for coming on and hanging out with us all the way up there in Connecticut. Of course, the Music Lovers Ltd, they are always on point. Drew, Kevin, the Professor, Diane, always on point. We missed Jay tonight. He had a little something going on. And Lamar. I didn't want to leave out Lamar. We missed him tonight, but he'll be back probably next week, and we'll see what happens with that. But again, to all of the music lovers, they do their homework. They dig into these, they get the good questions and the questions I think that need to be answered. So I tip my hat to all of them. You guys have a great weekend. Coming up next week, Kenny Hamber was our guest.
Thank you for having me. And
go ahead, Kenny. You're buffing pretty tough there.
See you next week, guys. Thank you so much.
Hopefully we can do a little bit better next week, Kenny. Yeah, hopefully we can do a little bit better next week. But Kenny Hamber is our guest next week, and hopefully we'll be able to have a good weekend. Thanks, Kenny. Hopefully we'll be able to have a better connection, and we'll have him next week. A couple important things real quickly. Let me say that real quickly because we're running out of time. Is that starting next Friday, we now have a sponsor for our show. We're talking about the Yummy Bowl, which is down here in Delaware. They will be our sponsors. I'll give you more information on that next week. But everybody at the Yummy Bowl, I told you we're going to announce you tonight, but they're going to be our sponsors for next week. They're going to sponsor the Friday night show. So we'll be talking about the Yummy Bowl. Next Friday, well, of course, we got Kenny Hamber coming. And coming very, very soon, Ollie Hackett's musical classroom. Coming very, very soon. Very soon. Stay tuned to your television, your radio, your TV, all of that. We'll be letting you know what's happening. So everybody have a great weekend. Let's go out the way we came in. Party and party and party. Take care of yourselves. I love you, Della. We love you. Take care. Right. All right. Bye-bye.